Hey guys, I'm Rainee Romero with the lovely law firm. We are here for yet another Carolina Justice Report. Today, as the weather has gotten nice and warm, we are chatting about the dangers of leaving kids and pets in your vehicles. So today I am joined with attorneys Sarah Austin and Amy Lawrence, and today we are chatting about something we get very passionate about this subject, but it's about leaving your kids or pets in your hot vehicles or forgetting them in your hot vehicles. So I don't even know where to start with this. Amy, I know we were talking before we were rolling about an incident recently where there was a pet left in someone's vehicle. Why don't you tell us about that?
So I look for animals and babies in car parking lots all the time. It's what I do when I go to the grocery store. And I happened to be walking by and there was a little schnauzer in a blacked out car, black interior, you know what I mean? And with the window just cracked. And so I'm thinking that car is obviously on because I've left my dog in the car with it running with the air conditioner on high. And I literally have my ear, burning, just to see if it's... The people beside me thought it was crazy. When I explained to them there was a dog in there, they panicked too. So we're trying to figure out if the car's on, and it wasn't. So I go to the grocery store and ask them to announce it. They announce it, no one comes out. So they want to call 911. So I happen to know dispatch. Anybody else call 911, but I happen to know the dispatch number to our local police department because I knew that was county. And stayed on the phone with the dispatch guy until a police officer got there. And right before the officer got there, the man came out. I didn't want it to be a confrontation. He was a lot bigger than I was. I just didn't say a word. And he got in his car and he left. But my heart just sunk. I was like, how am I going to break this window? I'm trying to figure out what rock I can find or go in and get something in the grocery store.
Well, when the guy came out, was there any kind of discussion there? Did he realize?
No. And like I said, he was just a lot bigger than I didn't.
Was the police officer still there?
No, he had not gotten there yet. Okay. It was right before the police officer had gotten there. And matter of fact, when I got there, the cop was like, did you say anything to him? Because I'd say something to a lot of people. It's innately in my guts that I would kind of yell at him like you would be my kid, you know?
Yeah.
But I just didn't, I knew that it would not be received the way it should.
Right.
And I didn't want to get shot or hit or whatever.
You were being smart. Yeah.
Being as smart as I could be. Because it took everything in my being not to say a word, but I just had a feeling that it would not be received well, so I didn't say a word. Well,
and when you say that you kind of always keep an eye out for kids and animals in vehicles, why is that?
Well, so... I'm a latchkey kid of the 80s, and I watched a lot of Oprah, and I remember watching this Oprah, and there was this mother who left her kid in the car, 18-month-old baby. And I remember it was yesterday, and she was a principal, and she was out of schedule, her normal schedule. She never took her kids to school. Her husband always did. And her husband was like, I need you to take the baby to school and put him in the car seat. And she fell asleep. And halfway through her day at lunchtime, it hits her because she's got 100 things going on her mind. That her baby's in the car, and she runs out, and her daughter has died. Oh. And the aftermath of what happens to her and her family just snowballs. And she just is trying to survive it. Yeah. And carry that with her for the rest of her life. And
which is impossible.
Totally impossible. She'd contemplated suicide, all these things, because, there's no punishment that would ever trump that.
Right.
And we all think that. And in that moment, even as a 12-year-old kid, it made me just think we don't know what we don't know. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what we would do in a situation.
Right.
We all think that would never happen to me, but then it does, right? It never happens to you until it does. And and I notice I see this pattern of behavior, and it's always we talked about this before. I've drove through an intersection. I've had so much on my mind. I've drove through an intersection with a red light. You know what I mean? It could have...
I think we've all had that moment.
Yeah, you're just on autopilot.
You're on autopilot. You've got a million things going
on. I literally pulled over because I had my kids in the car, and I just sat and cried. Matter of fact, it makes me cry thinking about it. Because I know how you can get on autopilot of life and just think something happens, and you get out of your regular schedule, and, as a mom, we're freaking exhausted, and we wear all the hats. We're the cookers, the cleaners, the butt wipers, the bath givers, the dinner makers, all those things, and it just... you just turn around and you've went to the grocery store and you're not even thinking, and your baby's in the car.
Yeah.
That happens. And we all see these comments on Facebook when this kind of stuff happens, and it's like
they're horrible people.
Yeah, how could you possibly forget your
let me
child?
tell you
What a
something. I
terrible
know
mother.
people this has happened to, and the babies are fine or whatever, and they're all wonderful human beings and good parents. They're just exhausted and overworked, and they're just got on autopilot. And,
Right.
Things happen.
Well, when you have little babies, I mean, when they fall asleep and they're, I mean, it's easy to, if the car is silent and you're just going about your normal day, it's easy to forget that they're back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially, you got a lot on your mind. Maybe it's not your normal schedule. You don't normally take them to daycare. You normally just go to work. I mean, I just could not imagine that happening. I mean,
You'd have to
one-year-old.
bury us too, right? You have
Oh
to
yeah,
put me in
I
the
don't,
grave
I don't
with
know how you go on after something like that, and it happens unfortunately all too common, which is part of why we want to talk about it today. Is just as a reminder, we live here in South Carolina, so it gets very warm here. We just had a few over 100 degree days here, and so it's just a very scary thought. And children and babies, their bodies don't regulate heat as well as adults do, and so their bodies heat up like 3 times faster than ours. So
Yes, sleep beside one. You know that they're like little furnaces.
yeah, they are, right?
Yeah.
And so it can happen within I don't know, 15,
Minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just so. And then as a parent, you think of like those moments, like those last moments, and you're just like, I just can't.
Bury me too.
You know,
right?
yeah. I mean, my baby was crying out for me. You know what I mean? And how could this happen? So, a lot of times there are no criminal charges pressed for these parents, which I understand because it's, it was an accident and they're already dealing with the grief and loss of this for the rest of their life. But sometimes charges are pressed. What would be the difference of one or the other?
I don't agree with charging parents. I mean, unless it was something intentional, but these are just horrible accidents, right?
Yeah.
And we all think that we all think we know what we would do in life. Right. We always think that. And this is completely off topic, but I'm going to tell a story. And just to kind of put things in perspective. So my sister-in-law was a NICU unit nurse, and she would hold babies when they took their last breath. And I always thought in my head that, like, what parent wouldn't be with their baby when they left this world? When they're dying of something awful, leukemia, whatever. And then my mom has a really good friend, and one night we were sitting on the back porch drinking wine, and she is one of the most lovable, wonderful people I've ever met. And she told me the story of her little boy being diagnosed with leukemia and dying when he was 18 months old. And how when she knew the end was near, her heart couldn't survive it, right? And she tells the story that she calls her best friend who's downstairs and she says, "Can you come hold him? I can't do this." She has 2 other children that she's got to live for, right? And so she told me this story, and so I had this like knee-jerk reaction when Miranda, my sister-in-law, told me these stories about how she would hold babies when they took their last breath because the parents they would leave. It's like self-preservation on some level. So we all think that we would know what we would do in a situation until we do. And so I know how things can happen in life. And so we're always like the first to judge, when these moms go into a grocery store, they go to work or whatever, and this happens. There is nothing that you can do to punish that mother or father more than knowing that they're responsible for the death of their kid. Yeah. This horrible accident has happened. And I just don't think bringing any criminal charges make it any better.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think criminal charges really, they're not going to deter it from happening again, because obviously if you intentionally put a child, a pet in a car so that child can die, that is horrific and that's murder, right? But normally when this happens, it is just a horrible accident. And so criminal charges don't deter horrible accidents from happening. They're not going to make moms less exhausted or fix your schedule or undo any of those things that lead up to this tragedy. So they're not going to deter it from happening again. And then, or therefore punishment. I mean, and what kind of, being responsible for your child's death is worse than any kind of prison that you could go to.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
like, ask any mom. I'm not a mom.
They're like, give me the firing
guys are.
squad. I'll take it. Like, that would
I
be
would
the
rather
easier. Yeah.
sit in prison than live with the fact that I could have done something to save my child. And so I don't know that criminal charges ever really
are needed.
They're not solving a problem
Right.
or making anything better in a situation that truly can't get any worse.
Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't stop with that child's death, because now you have marital problems, you blame each other, you have all
Marriages
these
don't survive the
things.
death of a child. We know that,
Yes.
right? The statistics tell
You
us
go
that.
through depression. I mean, it just ruins your life, and it's just such a horrible thing that was just something so easily avoidable that it's just hard to even process. I want to read a couple of stats really quick from our state. This is from WCBD, which is a news station in our capital of Columbia.
Do I want to know this?
I'm gonna have to start,
So,
start patrolling every. I can't work
we're
anymore.
starting a parking lot patrol unit.
So these numbers are from April of this year, and it was saying that 3 hot car deaths were reported last year for the state, with March 4th being the average date of the first death of the year. And since 1998, South Carolina has had 22 deaths in hot cars. I actually thought it would be more, to be honest. I don't know. Does that number surprise you or no?
I don't think it happens very often. I think you probably got 2 or 3 a year in every state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these are deaths. It doesn't cover
Yeah.
heat strokes and all these things that maybe people survive from.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was interesting. But again, just trying to remind folks to be safe, be smart, try to do, I know when this subject came, because it comes up almost every year, right?
Yeah.
And I know some tips were kind of like, to maybe make sure there are certain things you have to do in the back seat before turning your car off, like maybe you put something back there that you need each day.
Take your
and that
shoe
way
off.
you
Take your shoes off and put it back there,
you
right?
see them
Like a
back
purse
there.
back there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you put your bag, your briefcase, whatever in the back, so that way you kind of have to go back there to see them. And there was all these other different kinds of tips to maybe help that situation. But,
Maybe just not punishing each other or judging each other, but more looking out for each other. I know Amy told a story and was kind of joking how she's the parking lot police, but as moms and not even a mom, be aware of the cars around you. And if you see a kid in the car, don't immediately think, let's arrest someone. Let's just get this kid out of the car alive,
Right.
Yeah.
Let's
Do what
fix
you
it.
can to alert, because I'm sure that there is a mom inside who's going to have a meltdown that she forgot her child in the car. So
I think somewhere
Look out
along
for
the
each other.
way we've, and I think this has come with social media, is that we're real quick to judge, and we've lost that sense of like community. And especially as moms, it's like we all kind of. I've been at school and like somebody's kid's throwing up, and I immediately start cleaning it up, even though it's not my job. Do you know what I mean? Or, another kid need to ride home because they have to work late. That sense of community, we've lost it somewhere along the way. And so it's just a reminder, like, we're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child, and we're part of that village, and we can't lose sight of it.
yeah, let's not post a photo of the dog in the car and shame the person. Let's make it better. Let's look out for each other and realize
Right.
we're all just trying to get by, especially in recent times.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about pets. If it's too hot for
Yeah.
your kids, it's too hot for your pets, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So they don't have like superpowers that they can handle it. It still can get too hot for a pet, even though these are animals that are used to being outside. Your car is like a little sauna, and cracking the windows don't help. It can heat up 20 degrees in 10 minutes. So, it's not like it's different rules for pets.
I love that at the mall and at Walmart, the police department here in Myrtle Beach will put out an old cop car, and they'll put a huge thermometer in it so you can see how hot it
I've
is.
seen that.
And they put like cutouts of like canine dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like German Shepherds. And so, because I fell for it so many times because I'm the Walmart and mall parking lot police of hot cars. And I'll run to like help, and then I realize like, but I think that's such a good thing, because it's like keeps it top of mind. But, and when you said it normally starts in March, that makes so much sense, right? Because that's when it first starts getting hot. It's like spring has come, and like the humidity hits and the heat hits, and you're just not ready for it because we're coming out of winter.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes all complete sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Well, and I feel like this translates, I mean, it's a little bit of a separate topic, but I feel like this translates a lot to also, when kind of the mom shaming and leaving your kids and stuff. I mean, some moms will leave their kids. They have to run in for milk, something quick, and you leave your kids in the car, and you don't want to leave them in the hot car, so you leave your car on. You're running in.
You got the key fobs. You lock them in.
Well, once in a while, you don't
Yeah.
have that, and so then I know there was a recent report.
You're damned if you
A
do,
car
damned
that was
if you don't.
stolen with the kids inside, and of course, all the moms attacked. You don't
We've
ever
all
leave
done
your
that.
kids outside.
Everyone has
You
done
never
that.
leave your kids.
Whether it's your driveway,
And I thought the same thing.
whatever. Yeah.
Sorry, but it took me hours to get my little baby asleep, and she's finally sleeping, and I'm not waking her up, but I need to get her diapers. So, it's just, we're all just struggling to survive, and so, just be helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always stuff like that with kids, and it's just, we just always want to be safe, right? So,
On a happier note,
yeah, do you guys have anything else to add to
one
that?
of my favorite videos on social media is when it's like the dog is in a car with the air conditioner on, and there's a note that's like, please don't call the police. The air's on, this dog is spoiled. And the dog is just laying with his belly out, just chilling. And you're just like,
Freezing.
I love that. That is a good.
that is for the
tidbit.
parking lot vigilantes like Amy, just to be like,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
chill out. We're good. We're all good here.
Praise the Lord. Thank
I've
you
got
for
my
the
pillow,
reviews.
my food, my I'm good.
yeah, this life is good here.
Well, now we know if you ever see Amy lurking around parking lots, that's what she's doing. Don't be alarmed. She's a
Not
public
stealing
service.
anything. Pinky swear. Just looking for babies and animals.
Well, we're appreciative that you do that. Saving people out there, saving lives. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining in on this important conversation. And again, folks, just be careful, be safe out there. It is hot. So even, with or without your vehicle, stay hydrated. Make sure you're paying attention to how your body feels, even just for you as well as your children and pets. Thank you so much for watching today. We have new episodes that drop every Tuesday at 2 p.m. We'd love to hear from you and hear what you think about previous episodes or stuff you'd like to hear in the future. We're available on all your social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on our website, justiceslovely.com, of course, here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.
When life gets